Hello, welcome to Laura's Painted Minis. I am female barbarian. The called Long Rest to this month's promo, and I am doing OSL, which is why there's a very weird lots of orange. Hello, arrow, and this comes with this base. But yeah, I just kind of sat it on its base and then took the brush and then whatever I could actually hit in line with this, I painted in the orange that I use just to make it very easy to kind of see, especially since this isn't, especially for this, since it's currently not actually attached. So first off is putting down what will look like a very weird shadow color. It's basically a mixture of the complementary color of the OSL, the light, so complementary to the orange glow that we have. The shadow color that I'm going to use for the skin, which is I'm going to use Ruddy Flesh, and then the complementary color of Ruddy Flesh. I kind of determined that's a kind of an orange. I don't know. A lot of browns are an orange or red. So it'll probably look fine either way. It should give you like a cold shadow of sorts. This will give you kind of a nice natural looking shadow as well. Let's see if I can get any more focused. That's about it. I think I'll just say that this is probably the edge of her shirt. The looks of it. We'll see how well this actually stays in the blue tack. So yeah, we're gonna get some weird color mixes for sure. Doing this the way I do it, I guess. I've just found that I like the result better this way. But there are other ways to do it. I know a lot of people will usually just kind of do like a very light glaze. Yeah, I thought at first it was a human, but these ears almost look a little pointed. So I suppose you could probably do it as either human or elf or like a half elf, maybe. Okay. And barbarian skin, come in that. This is what we'll use to kind of be the midtone for our areas getting hit by the light source, and then, or sorry, the highlights for the shadows, and then kind of the midtone. Forget what I just said. uh, but yeah, highlights for the shadow areas, and then the midtone color for the areas getting hit by the light source. Definitely getting a little bit tired. Been working on getting stuff done in the kitchen with the tile. It's going a little slower than I was hoping. Still working on getting basement backer boards all cut out and hung up. Turn down yeah, turn down the brightness on the camera. That will help a little bit. Since this is going to be a dark mini camera probably will have trouble. We'll see how this goes. I have also done it so like the OSL that is, where you just pick really dark versions of the color. Um, and then wet blend the light into 611 Rage. Did it on that. So that's another way to do it. Also pretty quick too. Definitely works really well when like you basically just have the one color for the most part. It would imagine that would be a little bit more could get a little more annoying to work with when you have like, you know, all these different colors you're probably gonna do versus like painting a TARDIS. You're just gonna have pretty much one color to deal with. I do have the barbarian push a little bit on the thin side, but it does make it easier to do like one little pass there over the shadow. Very light pass, and it kind of helps, kind of acts almost as a glaze of sorts because it's so thin. All right, so then for the highlight, I'm gonna do Warrior Flash, and then you put in depending how quick of a transition you want to go, if you want it, or if you want to do more of a blended transition. Um, depends on that, but I have two different mixes, so I can do a bit more of normal for me, what is like kind of a normal amount of a transition. So I get so that I have basically 4 mixes. So this first one I'm gonna do, I believe I just did 1 drop of this, which is like it's the color I have for kind of like the main light color. And then I have another mix where it's flip-flopped. So mostly the lava orange and then 1 drop of the warrior flush. Here we go. And then I'm going to focus on where we want the highlights. This will be the highlights of everywhere that would have light touching it, even remotely. And then that next color will be focused kind of down here in front, probably on the hands as well. The parts that are going to be the closest to the campfire. Light will kind of dissipate as it spreads out, so it's not going to be as strong when you get further away. Although I might put a little bit on her face as well, just because it is a campfire, and so it would be actually a pretty strong light source. Let's see. Not sure much actually gets back to the ears. Maybe just that much. Definitely not on the ear back here. Oh, which I forgot to do the barbarian flesh on that. So definitely come back. So yeah, doing the OSL this way is you're definitely gonna end up with some really weird looking mixes, and it's gonna look weird, especially when you have to leave it away from what will actually be the light source. And so you just have to be okay with the fact that your mini is gonna look weird for a while. So mainly it was just the sides on this left one that got hit or gets hit. Let's get this ear before I forget again. Now for the highest highlight, it's going to be very orange. The hardest part really is going to be remembering where your light source is when it's especially like this where you've separated. You've got them currently separated. It's what part of the reason why I kind of dry fitted it onto the base and then took the orange and just kind of went real quick just to kind of give me a frame of reference of where all the light is actually hitting. Especially like I dry fitted this on too to make sure because there's definitely some things because of this being down in front that don't get hit. I just noticed another spot again that I didn't get hit with barbarian flush. It's her neck. And just a reminder, I mentioned this Monday, but doing a shorter stream. Because I've got a bunch of things, supplies and whatnot out. I don't necessarily want the toddler being left alone with them. Well, he's pretty good about nowadays, like if we tell him that they're not toys. He's old enough and getting pretty good about listening and being able to understand that. Sorry about that. Just hit the mic with my brush. Do need to get like a different stand. This is just kind of taking up too much room. I think I really would be having, like I've got one of those clamp on adjustable arms and stuff, and I honestly think that it's like actually taking up more room. So it's like sort of awkwardly in the way of like, because I keep paints, you know, up and like kind of above or around, oops, um, on my desk, and then my brushes and paint water, and it's basically sitting right in the way of that. So I might honestly just get like one of those just table stands, and then I can at least like move it and just stand it over there out of the way when I'm not streaming. This has gotten to a point where like things on it, tightening and loosening, are not doing great. So I just basically have to leave it in the position. Otherwise, if I try to mess with it anymore, it'll just kind of sometimes fall. So not ideal. Okay. And I also got some colors here to do the hair. It was so I like this mini so much that I already even made a good character on D&D Beyond. I have a pretty good idea of like even what she'll some general characteristics like the hair. We're gonna do a ginger, which I just realized that the other dwarf, the commission that I'm doing, at least in the art that I was given, and between the artwork and the color scheme that they were asking for, it's gonna be 2 ginger hair colors back to back this week. Well, this is definitely gonna look a lot different. Got a tiny brush to do her eyebrows, which are sculpted in, so that's helpful. Definitely need to redo the eyebrows on that other dwarf, on the other mini. It's a dwarf. I think I ended up getting them too thin, and so it's almost looking. So it's looking weird, kind of like almost like they were drawn on eyebrows rather than natural eyebrows, like they're supposed to look like. They weren't sculpted in, so it's definitely was, or at least either they weren't sculpted in or they just didn't come out when it was printed, casted, whichever it was. I don't know what the material it is. It was colored, and that's about all I can say for sure about it. So it's going to be very similar shadow color. Just gonna take that off so I don't accidentally like get some paint on it or something. These ones have been sitting for a bit, so now I need to stir them back up. Cause I mixed them all at the same time right before stream. I was thinking that maybe she would have some like tattoo kind of markings of some sort. I haven't thought through exactly what those would be, but something I'm thinking about with this one, like maybe like on the side of the face, and then on her legs and arms too, even maybe. I probably would have to put a little more thought into it, especially since like I've got to keep in mind like the light color and where you would actually be able to see. Color itself wouldn't be all that hard to make sure I don't. Cause I mean, I probably would just have it so that it's just a non-colored tattoo, since it's not really that big of a mini. Even without the OSL, that would be kind of difficult to do. Well, normally you would have the shine up here, but remember the light source is in front. So. And plus your shine is going to be changed too. You're not going to have the pure white highlights that you would have. And you could still put those in and then glaze over with your light source. Using all the same colors I did on Monday. So, and if you don't know what those were, auburn shadow, the shadow color, the weird shadow mix, carrot top red for the midtone. So that was what we just did. Now we're into the highlight, which is actually highlight orange, and got our started mixing in our light color, which is lava orange. So we very, very orange with doing ginger ale, which is kind of, cop out, also, not necessarily a cop out, but makes it easy, if you. It's not the reason like I said, I had come up with a really specific character in mind. And part of that is being kind of ginger, light ginger hair. And then for the last highlight, I did mostly the lava orange, just like before with the skin, and then like a drop of highlight orange. But then this time, because it wasn't as light, it wasn't much lighter than the previous color. Because I mean, highlight orange really isn't all that. It's more of a muted color. It's not like it's a really light color. So I added a little bit of pure white, since hair more so than skin it has like a shine to it of some sort, like you can see in my hair. Like there's kind of a shine. I have to work backwards there. Um, that was a little too much. Treat it like you would the pure highlight, shiny highlight that you would put on. I still need to do the rest of her eyebrows the rest of the way. Chin looks a bit weird compared to the rest of the face to me. I think I'll at least try and do a little darken in the eyes to get them ready. It'll also provide a little bit of contrast on the face too. Okay, let's see. Some colors, various colors out now. Actually, just bring in the brown liner, which is what I use to base coat everything in. Not gonna worry too much about making the eyes look like they're being hit by light. They're so small. It'd be hard to really convey much other than the fact that we would at least be able to see her eyes. that little smirk. Might need to get my magnifier headset or maybe do this more later. Kind of lost the eyebrows a little bit, I feel like. Alrighty, let's start and just quickly pop it on and kind of see how it looks. So yeah, it's looking pretty good, I think. Might need to do a little more highlighting on the these knees actually. Almost kind of looks like maybe they don't look as strong as they should be. Actually, you know, I think I might add a little bit of white into that color. I think that might help. So I think that's probably part of why it doesn't look as strong as because of the white that I put in the hair highlight. Probably gonna be the case with the hands too. All right, cool. I think that's gonna be it for today. We are getting pretty, or we are kind of at that time. So, even though I haven't heard my toddler yet, I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up so that I can be ready to go. Monday we'll be back to working on some like missions. So still need to kind of go back and tweak this some more so that the face doesn't look quite so weird. So it's giving penciled in eyebrows vibes to me, which is not what I want. So we'll figure it out. So hope you have a good weekend and I will see you Monday. Bye.